Hi everyone, this is a layout I'm doing using Studio Calico's Sunday Sketch. It looks like this. It's a nice and simple layout, which I'm going to turn into a single photo layout. So instead of 2 medium-sized photos, I'm going to use 1 large. I never scrapbook with 5x7s, but I have this photo that has a lot of detail in it, so I wanted to print it on a big size. So it's printed on 5x7. And this is me scrapbooking, and it's a photo, one of those, I don't know what they're called, but yeah, it's kind of like a camera trick where you take photos with a tripod of a person in all different places and then you meld them all together. Meld, that's a word now. I'm making it one. Yeah, you kind of merge them all together, I guess is a better word, and create a cool scene with the same person in it. So, and there's actually another one of me back here. You can see my bum and my head. That's where my paper trimmer is, so I'm back there trimming paper, and there was some debate over whether to include that me, but it ended up that somebody thought it was interesting to keep it in, so it's in there. There was also another me using my Big Shot, but it covered these 2 me's, so she's out. Anyways, I really like this photo because it shows me doing some of my favorite things, and it also shows my scrapbook was relatively clean. My scrapbooking room was relatively clean that day, and I just think it's a cool photo, and my husband took the time to make it, so I think it's nice for me to scrapbook it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm taking my own challenge, which is to scrapbook about scrapbooking. And I have a contest going on, so if you play along with me, you can win a really cool prize. So I'm going to put you on fast forward now, and hopefully I'm going to get a layout done, because it's been a long time since I've done a layout. I keep starting and abandoning projects, so I gotta get one done. Okay, so this is just me going through my Studio Calico March kit, the Story Hour main kit. And I'm just picking out some papers that I want to use. And I just showed you there the Becky Higgins box that I've been keeping my kits in. It's the box that the page protector, the big kit of page protectors come in, and it's such a nice box that I've been using it to keep my kits out on my desk, just so I get them used up. So here I've just kind of pulled out a couple of pieces of pattern paper that I like, and then that is one of the strips that shows the manufacturer, and it's that the crepe paper one has a decorative scalloped edge on it, so I'm using that as well. And I'm just going to outline all of these papers now, now that I've got the basis for the layout done. So I am just using 3 quick lines around all of those sheets of paper. I love that green chevron. The green chevron paper is Echo Park, I believe. Let me just check here. Yeah, the green chevron is Echo Park, and the yellow damask, or no, the yellow houndstooth is also Echo Park. And that scalloped strip is, as I said, from a piece of crepe paper, just the border from the paper. So I'm just going to layer those together in a way that looks nice, and I just ran my marker along the scalloped edge of that strip. And I do like to have my elements hang off the edge of the page and then trim it off later, so that's what I'm doing on this layout. There we go. And I actually wanted that blue scallop strip to be over a little bit further. I didn't notice it until later, but that I didn't like that little awkward corner, but I'll fix it later with an embellishment. So here I'm going to use my Mr. Huey's, which I haven't used before, and so it took me a while to get them going. I'm used to using paint and glimmer mist mixed into a little Mr. Misters. Mini Misters, that's what they're called. Sorry guys. I'll get it right eventually. And yeah, so I'm used to using those. So I ended up putting on a lot more of the Mr. Huey's than what I wanted to put on. So that's why you saw me blot back there. I'm just putting some twine along the edge of one of those borders, and I had to refill my tiny attacher. I go through those staples like nobody's business. And now I'm just kind of thinking about how I'm going to put embellishments on a layout. At this point, I often like to step away from a layout, even if I just go upstairs and make some coffee or something. Just to kind of, I like to get the base down, like all of my paper and my picture figured out, and then come back for the embellishment part. I can't remember if I did that or not for this one. So now I'm just picking out some embellishments. I've got some Amy Tangerine stamps and die cut shapes and some My Mind's Eye chipboard, which that says something about I like to play all day long. And so yeah, now I'm just gonna kind of fiddle and pick out a couple of shapes that fit the theme of crafting. So I've got the paper dolls and a couple of phrases there that suit my layout. And I really like the looks of those clouds, and it brought in some blue that was in the paint splatters, and also the lines in that background paper are blue as well. And so I wanted to do some blue inking, but I couldn't get the right kind of ink here, so I went with brown. Chestnut Roan is always my go-to brown ink by Colorbox. So this is an Amy Tan stamp that says all you need is love, and then there's a dotted line that you can put below it. And so I'm going to write the word pattern paper there in my handwriting. So all you need is love and pattern paper. And I wanted to make this into an embellishment, and I didn't really have a good idea of exactly how I was going to do that. I added those 3 hearts from another stamp set that I just had on my desk. It was by, I don't know, I can get it for you later. So I'm pop dotting those paper dolls, which I love. I love those little paper dolls that make the little heart shape between them. They're one of my favorite shapes. So I'm just so happy to have some Amy Tan stuff. So again, I'm just kind of fiddling, and you'll see me move stuff around from here to there and then back to the original place again. And that's how my process goes. Usually I don't have a good sense of where I'm going to put anything until I'm done. So now here's something that I'm doing is I'm taking a tiny little heart-shaped stamp, and I'm stamping some hearts that are almost the same size, and they kind of blend in with the paint splats, so that it's just a little tiny detail. If you look closely at the finished layout, you'll see some of the paint splats are actual natural paint splats and some of them are hearts. And I did that in the green and in the blue, and I managed to find an ink that matched. And so here's what I decided to do with that little piece of chipboard with the Amy Tangerine stamp on it. I figured that covering just the edges in washi tape might deck it out a little bit and make it look a little bit more finished than just plopping on a piece of chipboard with stamp, or a piece of paper with stamp on it, with stamped sentiment on it. So I kind of like how that looks. I would like it better if it had rounded corners or a bit of a shape to it instead of just a plain rectangle. But then what I decided to do is put it up there by those clouds, because the roundness of the clouds kind of balances out the linear quality of the embellishment itself. So that's what I did there. I just added some little photo corners and outlined them. Now I'm finally sticking down that chipboard element, and when I'm trimming chipboard that hangs off the edge of a page, I like to use my rotary trimmer for that because it cuts way smoother than scissors ever would for chipboard. So that's what I'm doing there. And then I'm just pop dotting that center element so that it sticks out from the page, and so that there's a bit of definition between the background and the foreground of that layered adhesive chipboard element from My Mind's Eye. I'm just grabbing a few more Amy Tangerine cardstock elements. And the reason I went looking for more is that I had to find some way to balance out that blue up in the cloud. It turned out that that blue was really the only blue element besides the paint splats, so I wanted to bring some blue down into the layout. And now I'm here. I'm obviously looking for some thickers that I think are going to work. So you'll notice if you watch my process videos that I do this a lot. I'll grab 5 or 6 different kinds of thickers to choose from. And that's because I'm not a good planner. So I just kind of wing it, and I find it easier to wing it when I've got a few things to choose from. I love these Studio Calico wood grain chipboard letter stickers, which are new for me. So they're not new. I don't think they're new, but they're new to me, so I'm having fun using them. And I didn't love, although I love the wood grain chipboard letters, I didn't love how this looked with the rest of the layout. It was a little, the wood is a little too pinkish looking, like it's got a bit of a pink undertone to it. It's a very light colored wood grain, so you'll see I'm going to go over it with some Distress ink, and that'll darken it up a bit and tie it in with some of the other elements, like those paper doll elements are on a dark wood grain, so it kind of ties it in a little bit. And so I always stick down my trickiest parts first, and then I go from there. So I started with that Oasis because I wanted it to cover some of the ugly roof or ceiling parts of my picture. I have an unfinished ceiling in my scrap room, so I wanted my letters to cover some of that. So there's my title all done, and I'm not feeling real great. I thought about lining those letters, and then I thought, no, I don't think so. That wasn't what I wanted exactly. So I'm just going to pop dot this homemade embellishment and layer it with those clouds. And I wanted a couple of other kind of elements coming out from that, and now I'm just kind of trying to decide. It needs something else. I don't know what here. So I added that little sentiment on the ribbon. It's just a piece of cardstock, and then I have this sticker which is not from Amy Tangerine. I can't remember what line it's from right now, but I thought it did a pretty good job, even though it's a slightly different blue. I don't always match all my colors exactly. It did have some dark blue parts to it, so I thought it did a pretty good job of balancing out that cloud. And now here I am just inking up that word Oasis a little bit just to darken it up a smidgen and I just used Vintage Photo Distress ink. Can't quite decide where I'm going to put that little Amy Tangerine sentiment that says good for the soul. I keep moving it, and here I'm kind of thinking about using those scissors because it kind of goes with the theme. I don't like to be too themey, but yeah, I kind of flirted with the idea of using them, and then I thought, no, who am I kidding? I don't do layouts with like that. I'd like to be able to, but I can't pull off using those scissors. I don't know what I'm going to do with those. So yeah, I'm just going to put that flower right below the sentiment. I'm doing a bit of outlining on that sentiment just to pull it together with all the other elements that are outlined. I'm going to pop that up so that it sits on top of the paper dolls nicely because they're pop dotted, and the chipboard element is of course thick itself so that all 3 of those elements are at the same height. I didn't have to do that, of course, but that's what I ended up wanting to do. So then I'm putting in a little sticker there just to add something on a different plane, so that's flat to the page. And now I'm doing my journaling as per the sketch. It had a strip of journaling down there, and I can't remember what I wrote, or I'd read it to you. I don't have the layout sitting beside me. It's hard to narrate without the layout with you, so sorry. And now, thank goodness I discovered my love of scrapbooking. It has become my stress buster, my creative outlet, my hobby, my obsession, and my means of something. Anyways, I am sorry I'm off frame there. I'm just replacing a bunch of the words with some of those Tim Holtz words, and just trying to make it look like it's random. It looked a little too symmetrical there. That's why I'm moving some of them around, and sorry I'm off frame. You'll see me come back in a second. I'm just finishing that up, and now it's done. I'm just putting a tiny, tiny bit more ink on those letters to make them darker, and now we're done. So you see the top corner here with that homemade embellishment, sort of. And then the paint splats with some hearts mixed in, and my title, and then this cluster over here, and then that journaling, and then another cluster with some more paint splats with hearts mixed in. And I really like the extra touch of that twine. So thanks for